boy, do we have a doozy of a week for you. Because this week we're guaranteeing at least 2 minutes of news in 1 hour. It's been that kind of week. I don't know about you, Margarita,
but a 2-minute news week, I'll tell you.
It has been a 2-minute news week. And speaking of 2 minutes, we've got a couple of guys who are known for their 2 minutes. Let's kick it over to them for introductions.
One of you, introduce yourself.
Jordan, you're breathing heavily. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I'm Jordan. I'll be here with your local weather and world record failure attempts.
Fantastic. Well, let's kick it over to another 2-minute Tom with Mark.
Hey, everyone. Last week I yelled at a kid on a bike, and he must have been the leader of some kind of gang of 12-year-olds, because my house is just getting hit with rocks all the time, day and night. I can't sleep.
That's wonderful.
Well, this might be an obscure reference for you considering your age, but maybe if you pay that 12-year-old kid his $2, he'll just simply go away. Yeah, no.
That was an obscure reference,
Clearly
Caleb Gilhart.
Better Off Dead, everybody. John Cusack, classic 80s right there, everybody.
Classic.
All right, well, speaking of classics, let's kick it to the headlines. Tonight's first headline.
Dogs
are
hateful.
And our second headline, tomorrow
we
will
never
see
again.
Oh, wow. That's a depressing one. And our final headline for the first block.
Sandwiches.
Eat.
People.
Ooh, fantastic. Can't wait to see
that
one.
was a question mark. That was a question mark.
Well, that's probably one of our in-depth reports we might do someday. All right. Well, speaking of what we might do someday, I think it's time to visit my favorite meteorologist and yours, meteorologist Jordan Eric.
Thanks, guys. Hey, is it getting hot out there, or is it just me? Hey, let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. But first, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Fantastic. You know, I know it was just Mother's Day, but Father's Day is coming up, and that makes me think, like, get your dad some flowers. Hey, speaking of fuck yeahs, there's somebody who's dealing with a bit of a fucking life and situation himself. Let's kick it over to Mark for a traffic report. Mark, how you holding up over there, buddy?
Hey, guys. I haven't gone toward the windows in at least 4 days, so I figured I would just do a report from the safety of this bedroom about the traffic. Traffic. What is it? It's
apparently invisible.
What is traffic? Traffic is when one car gets too close to another car. Similar to how sometimes encouraging comments about 12-year-olds riding bicycles can get too close to gang-leading 12-year-olds riding bicycles. This causes a chain reaction, like a link of 12-year-olds who day and night coordinate strikes against newscasters who just want to sleep.
Yeah.
They just want for an hour. 1 hour of sleep. That's it. It's just crying. And it's really hard. Because it's ping, and then they're like crawling on my roof, I think. And it's just
That's
anyway,
fantastic.
That's traffic. So back to you guys.
All right.
Thanks,
you,
Mark. What a useful report.
Very useful.
I learned a lot about how children or rocks could crawl on roofs. I wasn't quite sure what was doing the crawling at that point.
I was always sure one day Mark would be obsessed with 12-year-olds. I'm just glad it manifested in this way than in the way I originally thought.
We got to see it.
All right. Well, speaking of getting to see it, it's time to see some failed world record attempts with my favorite meteorologist and yours, Mr. Jordan Eric. Jordan.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. I'm just loosening up for this one because I have got a doozy of a world record for you. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 7.8 billion people in the world, and 2.964 billion of those people are older than me. So tonight, I am going to attempt to become the world's oldest living person. That's right. The current world record holder lives in Japan, and her name is Kane Tanaka. She's a 117-year-old woman, and I am going to attempt to become older than her. Now, in order for me to accomplish this is going to be a very difficult task because I am going to need 2,964,000,000 other people to die. Now, if I go around killing all of those people, that's going to take a lot of my time. Not to mention, it's also a very illegal activity to do. I will probably set numerous world records in attempting to do that, but according to the actual rules, the factual rules in the Guinness Book of World Records, you are not allowed to commit any illegal activity whatsoever in attempting to complete your world record.
How disappointing for you.
Yeah, so unfortunately, plan A of murdering 2.9 billion people in the world who are older than me is just not going to be feasible. So I'm unfortunately going to have to wait this one out. Now, according to data that I looked up online, which has to be 100% accurate, the death rate in the world is 147,000 people per day. So if you factor in that I'm only younger than about 38% of those people, that rate should work out to me becoming the oldest living person in about the year 2135 when I'm 155 years old. So as long as I die before at least one of those people do in the year 2135, I will have failed at becoming the oldest living person in the world. So I'm all loosened up. I'm ready. One quick glass of water. And here we go.
Ooh.
What a journey.
Very intense.
What determination.
I don't know if I can take it. Jordan, you can do this. You can die.
Come on. I got this. I got this.
If there was ever a record you could make.
I gotta wait for 2.9 billion people to die, and then I will be the oldest living person. And as long as I die before at least one of those people do, I will have failed. Here we go. Come on.
Good work. You know, I am surprised you didn't have an aneurysm doing that much maths. That's probably the most amount of math and calculations you've done to date.
Can't argue with that, Caleb. Can't argue with that.
Well, we certainly wish you luck on your journey. While you are trying to not break this record or fail at breaking the record, let's turn it over to a panel discussion. This time we have a special treat wherein our very own traffic guru, Mark Ranto, will be taking the panel discussion this time around. Mark, let's hit it.
I'm ready. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It is an honor to be presenting to such a beautiful audience, and I've really got some important news and information to share with everybody today, just so that we can stay calm, so that we can keep our shit together. And I've got some good news for you when it comes to keeping your shit together. So next, Here's the deal. Sanity is a pie. Sanity altogether includes multiple pieces, split into 4 different categories, and maintaining it depends on maintaining a solid balance of these proportions. Next. This is one way to look at it. It comprises about 55 to 58% of maintaining your sanity. And what you gotta do is you gotta think that things are gonna stay the way they are. And that's one way of looking at it. So one way, and keep it one way. Don't look at sanity any other way. Next. Okay, because there's another way. And if you let yourself have one other way, you can be okay. But don't go nuts with the other way. Only about a third of another way. Mix it in there. Okay, next. If you had a third way of thinking about sanity, okay, what are you? Are you the 2/3? Are you the fourth? Are you an orange fourth? Are you a gray 10th? And sometimes a gray 10th just adds to too much stress. And I'm just telling you all, it's going to be okay. Just, that's another. Next. Okay. Never look at things 4 ways. Okay? Do you think we have 4 eyes? Like 1 eye on the front, 2 eyes on the side, and 1 eye in freaking back of your head? No. That's because God made us to look at things 2 ways, with 2 eyes, and in 1 direction. 1 way to look at it, 2 if you have to. Don't even give me that 3 bullshit. And back out with 4. Next. When it comes to sanity, there are 2 schools of thought. One is that sanity is delicate, like an egg being hit by toast. If that toast hits that egg, is the egg going to be strong enough to hold? What if the bread is stale? You don't know. Sanity is an egg being hit by unknown toast. And the world, friends, is unknown toast. Second school of thought. Sanity is a gift. Sanity is not the norm. Sanity is a speck of light between 2 vast expanses of infinite darkness. And if at any time you slip and you fall out of that, you can not be the cocoa. You can be winter. Those are the 2 general schools of thought. Next. Let's dive into that first one. How old is bread? It's at least as old as the domestication of canines. At this point, ancient man took grass and said, "Give me better grass." And so we made the grass that had little seedies on it. And then we made that grass fuck other grass with big seeds. And now we have wheat. And that's what ancient men thought. And that's crazy. Next. Bread is time honored. Next. Eggs are as traditional as they come. Some say that life started from the middle of a cosmic egg. Next. And again, ancient man, did they have bread? Yes. Did they have eggs? The women. All of this coming together in an ancient way of approaching sanity. An egg hit with toast. Next. Second school of thought. There's a wandering speck of light. It's delicate and light like a fairy's life, hinging on hooks, insults, or Pan's claps. Next. It's time honored. How long have fairies existed? At least as long as men who wanted to be women. 2. Next. It's best left to its own devices. This speck of light wandering through the vast darkness should not be contained, should not be insulted, should not be caged or hemmed in. Because finally, next, 5 times out of 11, thinking of yourself as a small point of light inside of vast cosmic darkness helps calm the voices in your heads. And if you're hearing as many voices as I'm hearing, 5 out of 11 is pretty good. Next. Okay. There's a secret third school of thought that I didn't mention, and it involves questionable women that my mother doesn't want me dating. These women are seductive. They're the sirens of the night. They dress in sheer fabrics. They wear runny mascara. And worst of all, just like my mother, they don't look at me. Don't think about life as seedy women who won't look at you. You've got to grab sanity. You got to grab life by the shoulders and say, look at me. I'm alive. I'm alive, damn it. And I'm not going to take it. No satiny, sultry women. Next. Here's the thing about that sultry woman, okay? Always be closing. Focus on dating that sultry woman, because what if she's actually really sweet and you can change her? You can change her. Always hold on to that hope. No matter how blindfolded, no matter how runny her mascara. In fact, sometimes that can be kind of hot. I'm not saying which videos that gets me going with, but I'm saying that sometimes that look can actually be. Anyway, next. Okay, so these 3 tricks of the trade. First of all, there's an ancient way of sanity. Think of life and the world as a loaf of bread that you don't know the staleness of. If it's soft and new, that bread will envelop your egg like a sleeve. Then there's the wandering school of thought. You are a marshmallow floating comfortably in your sanity, but outside in that world, it is winter and cold, and it will turn you into a frigid marshmallow, crackable by the slightest touch. And finally, always be closing. Think about life as a desperate, dark, reddish-haired lady embracing her shoulders as if she doesn't need you. And always be trying to change that girl, because sanity is tricky. Look, sometimes you feel like the silver fox grandpa father who had kids at a late age because he had a wealthy career and then he married a young girl and then he had kids. Sometimes you're that silver foxed father, and sometimes you're just a kid. The schools of thought are not separate, but let me tell you something. Next. Together. Next. Failure to follow them in order can lead to, next, very important, from whence you came, you will find next that just look at them. Look at those British people, okay, with their posh accents and their ability to sound smarter than us, even though statistically their dumbest person is probably just as dumb as our dumbest person, even with that accent. They've maintained their sanity by thinking of themselves as bread. They've maintained their sanity by having harsh winters and by having very cold women. Let's wrap it up with this. Next. No, let's keep it going. Object association. What do you think of here? Okay, look at that. Look at that. Let it come to your mind. Okay, wrong. That is not what you thought of. Okay, next. Okay, is this an adorable dog? Think about it. No. Okay, those are bubbles of atoms. Okay, that's not a real dog. Okay, when you're having a crisis, when you haven't slept in 56 hours, you have a crisis, and you got to think of what that makes you think of, because finally, crisis is crisis. Don't let other people say no to that. Next. Finally, in closing, I got to say this. Next. This is my main point, that you maintain your sanity. Okay? Because this is really where it all comes together. Bread, crying women, you are the thing in between all of it. A Zen teacher once said that the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. Because when love and hate are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised. So, making the smallest distinction makes heaven and earth infinitely set apart. And so if you wish to see the truth, then hold no opinions for or against anything. To set up what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind.
Fantastic.
Wow, Mark.
All right. Wow.
Thank
Mark.
you for those original closing comments.
You know, speaking of the truth, I think it's time for another round of headlines.
Yes, we have quite a bit of headlines. First, starting with candy canes.
Will
help
insert
your
toxins.
Also,
that's it. All right, second headline. Tomorrow
is
Thursday. And our final headline for the night.
Hamburgers
are
made
with
and
beef.
Hamburgers are made with and beef.
And beef.
And beef.
That is the correct way to say it if you're British. All right. Well, speaking of British, I think it's time to head across the pond to my favorite meteorologist and yours, Jordan Eric.
Yeah. Hey, did somebody say hurricanes in North Dakota? We'll find out what that's all about right after this message.
Whoops. Oh no. Who's gonna clean up that mess?
Are you tired of tough messes to clean up? Well, I'm here to tell you about a great new product that makes cleanup a snap. It's called a goddamn paper towel.
Spilled some wine.
Get a goddamn paper towel.
Spaghetti sauce on the stove.
Get a goddamn paper towel.
Triceratops take a dump on your Honda Civic.
Get a goddamn paper towel.
Look at this mess. Who can tackle this catastrophe? A wet washcloth?
No way.
A Swift what?
No way.
Just grab a goddamn paper towel, use a little goddamn kitchen cleaner, and throw it all away in the goddamn trash can. What would you expect to pay for something like this? $1,498? No way. $287.36? Not a chance. Act now, and you can get this amazing new product for much, much less. Where can I buy this amazing revolutionary technology? Any goddamn grocery store on the planet.
Purchase your goddamn paper towels alongside these other fine goddamn products at any goddamn grocery store nationwide.
All right. Thank you very much, Jordan. That was spot on, as usual.
Oh, there he is.
And speaking of spot on, I think it's time for another traffic report with traffic reporter Mark Rantle.
Hey, guys.
Mark, you seem a little bit frozen.
Oh, what a shame. I was really looking forward to that traffic report.
You know, maybe we could just give out his address. I know that we have several 12-year-olds watching us. Maybe we could just give out his address and they could go and get the traffic report directly from him.
I think that's a great idea. While we're waiting for that, I think it's time for meteorologist Jordan with the next segment.
Jordan, I understand that you like to watch a lot of movies, and there are a few movies you like to review.
Let's do that. Let's take a look at some movie reviews that I have of movies that I have no intention of seeing. I'm gonna review some movie reviews, some movies I have no intention of seeing. Wow, I haven't played that theme song in a while, apparently. Okay, the movie reviews that I am going to be reviewing today are from the film Valerian. Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets. I saw this trailer and thought, what a colossal piece of shit this is probably going to be. Now, let's see. Let's get some notes up on Valerian here. This movie has a 53% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes with almost 28,000 ratings, and that grossed just over $40 million on a $177 million budget. So this lost a shitload of money. Now, as a comparison, I thought that it looked like Avatar on the beach, and Avatar has 1.3 million reviews, and I don't think many people had any intention of seeing that movie either. So let's take a look at some reviews of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. First, we've got Lawrence G, who says, brilliant to watch, 3 stars, brilliant to watch, but fatally flawed in 3 areas. 1, it's far too long. 2, there isn't really a story to hold all the scenes together. And 3, Dean DeHaan, has few qualities to commend him, and the film would have been far better with the sassier Cara Delevingne in the main role. Okay, so Lawrence, you're giving this 3 stars, it's a pretty mediocre review, and you're saying that this movie lacks plot, it lacks character development, and is way too long. Those are 3 pretty critical elements of a film. So I'm saying if it doesn't have any of those 3 things, I think 3 stars is way too high of a review for you to be giving this kind of a movie. Meanwhile, Jenny M says, 5 stars, I love sci-fi, I love action, and I love James Bond type jaunts. This movie has all 3. Thoroughly enjoyable, and the 2 lead actors are terrific. Great pace, good story, pure entertainment. I can't understand the low ratings here. I, for one, think it's a great way to pass 2 hours. 5 stars. Okay, first of all, fuck you, Jenny, for invoking James Bond and comparing anybody in this movie to any of the James Bonds, even the worst ones. Second, I can understand the low ratings here. This movie looked like garbage. And when people think a movie looks like garbage, they give it a low ratings. I hope that helps you understand that. Third, this movie's only 2 hours long. The goddamn trailer looked like it was 2 hours. I can't understand how this movie came in under 5 itself. Let's move on. Alice says, 2 stars. CGI is the only interesting thing about this movie. Glib and droll smartassery. I'm not sure I could even call it acting. 2 stars only for the work the animators did. Who needs character development or a storyline when you have CGI? The preview is the best part. Alice, this is a 5-star, 2-star review. This is exactly what you want out of a 2-star review. You want to know why this movie is such a piece of shit. If it's complete garbage start to finish, this would give the lowest ratings possible. 0.5 star, 1 star maybe. 2 stars, there's something here that deserves a little bit of credit, and she nails it with the CGI. I'm sure this movie looks like somebody just jizzed at an animator's desk for like 2 hours, and I'm sure it looks fantastic. But everything else about this movie is unappealing, and she's just nailing it with this review. There's no reason to watch this movie if you've seen the preview. Let's move on. Danny A, 0.5 star, absolute garbage movie, probably the worst I've seen in the past 10 years. Ultimately boring and stupid at the same time. Straight up sucks. Okay, that's what you would expect from a 1-star review. Complete garbage, and you don't need to elaborate on anything else. What I do think happened here is, though, with a 1-star review, Danny, you're really missing an opportunity to elaborate more on what a pile of shit this is. I want to regurgitate the popcorn that I didn't buy having not seen this movie. That's the kind of utter contempt I really want to feel. Good effort, solid effort, could have used a little bit more. All right, Misty M, 5 stars. I love this movie. It's very futuristic. No fucking shit, Misty. It's a science fiction movie. Of course it's going to be futuristic. Let's go on to Jaden S. 2 stars. I was really disappointed with this movie. I didn't think it was going to be this boring and poorly written, 32%. You didn't think it was going to be this boring and poorly written? Did you see the trailer? Did you watch that at all? First of all, the 2 lead actors look like they're 12, and I am so pissed at Dean DeHaan because he's like 4 years younger than me. One of us didn't age real well. I'm going to give you a clue. It's me. Second, 32%. Okay, 32% is a very strange percentage to give a movie. That's just a very odd number, and it doesn't even align with a 2-star review. 2 stars is 40%. You could have easily given this a 1.5-star rating, and that would be much closer to a 30% review of this piece of crap. All right, this one's blank. Gives it 2 stars, gave up after 30 minutes. You apparently gave up on just on everything because you didn't even give us a name. 2 stars for 30 minutes of this film. I know one person personally that saw 30 minutes of this movie, and I don't think he'd give it 2 stars either. Let's skip through a couple here. Leopold, half a star, one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Fred C, half a star, please make it stop. And Wayne M, 1 star, don't waste your time. I don't think I want to waste any more time on this either. That's going to be it for this edition of Valerian. I just reviewed some movie reviews of movies I have no intention of seeing. Back to you guys.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jordan. I did not realize that Dean DeHaan was 52 years old.
It's amazing. He looks good.
He looks great. Hey, Mark, it looks like your technical difficulties are over there. Why don't we kick it back over to you for another traffic report?
Sure, guys. They're kind of hitting on the front door, so I've moved to a closet and I'm holding myself in the fetal position because it gives me comfort. So since I can't see out any windows, I thought I'd just do a report on the film Traffic, starring, I think it was Denzel Washington and Benicio del Toro as rival drug kingpins who just like got into a fender bender on an interstate. I never saw the film. I just saw the trailer, and I remember hearing good things. I remember good things.
Well, it was definitely a movie, and those 2 actors have definitely been in movies, so you're definitely on the right track. All right, well, speaking of on the right track, thanks again, Mark, for a stimulating traffic report.
Indeed. Now, speaking of stimulating, I hear that you are not just an anchor, my friend. You have another talent.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of weeks ago, we brought you a new segment in which I taught you to play the guitar. Well, we had a lot of interest saying like, hey, Caleb, I don't have a guitar, or I don't want to touch a guitar, or guitar players are douchebags, which I took personal offense to because it was Jordan that said that, and he's also a guitar player. So I thought, hey, why don't I teach you guys some percussion? Now, I've got a drum set here in the back, and I've been spending a lot of my lockdown learning how to play the drums, but the drums can be hard to come by, and, well, I don't want to drag my drum set all the way up here. So I thought I'd take this moment to teach you a percussion instrument that is in nearly every single band in the existence of humanity, the tambourine. All right, well, how you're going to play this is you're just going to hold it with one hand, and that's how you play the tambourine. Fantastic. Back to you, Margie.
Thank you, Caleb. Now, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes being here alone or with your spouse or whomever you're with, trapped in the house, can get to you. And I don't want to make you paranoid, but unfortunately, there are some things in your home that can kill you.
Thank you, Margarita. I'm standing outside an innocuous house on an innocuous street. Like most houses on this street, it has a door, windows, a lawn. And like most houses on this street, it contains something inside that will kill you. Our pets, our companions, our lifelines, our murderers. Welcome to another edition of This Will Kill You, a deep dive into the common things in your life that will kill you. For far too long, humans have taken their pets for granted, leaning on these domesticated beasts for support during an isolation that seems to have no conclusive conclusion. But who do the pets lean on? They can't jump onto a Zoom call to commiserate over quarantinis. They can't make masks for their neighbors to help them feel better. They can't even play the guitar. The pressure is becoming too high for our furry, feathered, and scaled friends, so they might just come to the worst conclusion: homicide. According to national data, pets have reported more complaints about their caretakers in the last 8 weeks than in the past 100 years. Specific complaints include too many walks, treats me like their therapist, witnessed a Zoom sex chat, and I don't want to watch Friends anymore. With so much more requirement to be the silent, fun, yet entertaining members of our families, is it any wonder our pets are feeling the pressure? Look at this dog, and this cat, this goldfish, and this lion. The CDC recommends limiting our time with our pets, Instead of taking 5 walks, take just 1 or 2. Instead of following them around with your iPhone, don't. Instead of telling them how cute they look, ask them how they're doing. And when they ask you for space, give it to them. Because in these strange, unprecedented, and trying times, it's important to remember, now more than ever, that your pets will kill you. Back to you, Margarita.
Mark? Mark, you okay, buddy?
Hey.
Hey, Mark?
I turned off the lights. I think they've learned how to open doors. The banging has stopped. And now I hear movement inside my sacred place. So I gotta be quiet. But I'm still here, bringing you the news.
Okay, well, this is going to be awkward because this last round of headlines was supposed to be between you and Jordan. So you guys are going to have to kick it back and forth, and you're going to have to talk.
I can do it.
All right, here we go. You guys ready? First headline.
When
People
have
sex
they
can
explode?
Wow, good to know. Second headline.
sometimes
If
you
have
a
happy,
place
you
should
hold
it.
tightly.
I'm noticing a theme here. All right, and our final headline of the night.
Don't
Drink
alcohol.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
ironic coming from the two of you.
That leads us to our favorite drinker and yours, meteorologist Jordan Eric.
Hey, if there's a reason to drink, it's to stay in with bad weather. And we'll tell you all about the bad weather that's coming to get us right after this break.
Whenever he ties a tie, it's the perfect length. The first time. He can iron a shirt just by touching it. Whatever color he's wearing is the new black. He's the best dressed man in the world.
I don't always wear underwear, but when I do, I prefer briefs. Stay tidy, my friends.
I think our lead anchors there are on mute. Mark, I think we're going to check in with you now to see how's your situation and how's that traffic going?
Hey, the traffic in my house. There's pattering outside the closet door. They're singing some sort of teenage sea shanty. And it goes like this. Listen if you can hear it. It goes, come out, wherever you are. Come out. The lyrics aren't very clever, but the intimidation is terrifying. And I'm thinking about just turning myself into so as far as the traffic goes, it sounds fine. I'm sure people are driving this way and that way, and it's gonna be fine. But right now, I'm gonna hold my ground. I'm gonna stay right here, and I'm just gonna hold myself to feel better. So back to you guys.
Fantastic. Hang in there, trooper. The traffic is worth it. All right, we're going to do a lightning round and a brand new alteration of a new game we like to call Convince Me I'm Wrong with Caleb. This week, we're going to do Convince Me I'm Wrong with all four of us. So you know how it works. I say a fact. The others have to convince me I'm wrong. And we'll just go from there. So to kick it off, convince me I'm wrong. Hobbs and Shaw of the Fast and Furious franchise is the embodiment of pure cinema. Convince me I'm wrong.
Cinema is a term that you're just throwing around willy-nilly, and quite frankly, I'm surprised. Caleb, as a filmmaker yourself, I would think that your standards would be higher. You see, Hobbs and Shaw is nothing but a bunch of guys jizzing all over the screen. It's about muscles.
You're referring to the wrong Hobbs and Shaw. I think you're referring to Knobs and Shaw.
Either way, men with their testosterone, their improbable truck races, and their tattoos a-flowing and a-showing is not the embodiment of cinema.
All right. Well, you're definitely wrong, but I'll take other arguments first.
I think I'm going to have to take Margie's point on this, in that I believe that this is just somebody getting off the car chases and orgasms for 2 hours. It's not really much more than that. Sorry.
You're definitely wrong. Mark, any comments?
Caleb, I'm not going to try for this one. I had the time of my life with Hobbs and Shaw.
I agree, Mark, and that's where I'd like to start it right now. It is the time of your life. And how is it the pure embodiment of cinema? Well, this movie has everything. It has romance, it has adventure, it has exotic locations, it has aspirations of what we'd all like to be. It was shot on film. Not really, it was digital, but it was shown on film. Of course it wasn't, it was shown digitally, but it is considered a film, and film is cinema. It has all of the elements of cinema. Beautiful people, great accents, exotic locales, action, adventure, romance, suspense, horror, and of course, comedy. It is the pure embodiment of cinema. So you have failed to convince me I'm wrong. Margarita, I understand you have something to convince.
I do. Convince me I'm wrong. Tom Hanks is awful. Convince me I'm wrong.
Oh, God damn. Tom Hanks is awful. Tom Hanks is not only America's dad, but Tom Hanks is the world's dad. This is a man that was able to crawl up from the gutters of Bosom Buddies all the way to Bachelor Party to give us probably the greatest movie, second only to Hobbs and Shaw, Forrest Gump. He's played in Philadelphia. He's enlightened people with that train animated movie Christmas Disaster, which only he could save. He has saved people as both the captain of a ship that was taken over by pirates and the captain of a plane that was taken down by birds. Tom Hanks is probably the greatest person on the planet. Not only has he stayed married to Rita Wilson for decades, he has given us Colin Hanks, who is just a goddamn delight. Tom Hanks is great.
Margarita.
Well, although you bring up arguments, I can't say that I'm compelled by them. Mark, convince me I'm wrong.
Margarita,
Tom
here's why
Hanks
you're wrong.
is the worst.
No, you can't change language on me when I built an argument around the word awful. Okay? Tom Hanks is maybe awful, but he's only awful at being awful. This man is a golden human being with a heart of platinum. In fact, the only thing that you could possibly accuse Tom Hanks of being awful is it being a freaking captain of a ship or a plane. Because the moment he was Sully, that shit went down. Castaway, shit went down. Polar Express, literal train wreck of my childhood. Okay? And don't even get me started about the one in the boat with the I'm the captain now moment. Okay? If you get on a vessel with Tom Hanks, you're gonna have an awful time. But it's not because of him.
Mark, I find it difficult to think that you weren't arguing for me. So half win? Jordan, Tom Hanks is awful.
No, he's not. He's Tom fucking Hanks.
Yes, the best argument yet. Margarita, why is he awful?
Why is Tom Hanks awful? Well, Mark basically made my argument for me. If you put him behind the wheel or the stick of any sort of vehicle, you're going to have an awful time. That's a point I didn't even consider until this moment. So thank you, Mark. He often does things for humorous purposes, like crashes weddings and crashes selfies. That tells me he's pretentious. He purchased 2 espresso machines from the White House. That tells me he flashes his wealth. And being married to Rita Wilson, you act like that's the hardest thing to do in the world. Anyone can be married to Rita Wilson for decades and be happy. She is lovely, and it's not because of him. I am not convinced.
Well, horrible. Anybody else have something they need convincing of?
Look, this one's important to me, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Tangled is better than Frozen.
Wow. In a rare win, I'm going to have to side with Mark on this one because I've only seen Tangled. Or no, I have never seen. Here's why I have to side with Mark. I've never seen Tangled. Frozen was horrible. So therefore, I can only conclude.
I've never seen either. So.
Well, I suppose it's a duo fest between the two of us, Mark. Tangled is better than Frozen. Mandy Moore might have been semi-popular in the 90s with Candy, but can she really pull off Disney princess status? I say to you, nay. Can she hit the high notes like a bird? Yes, she can, but the voice is flat. Other than that, nothing. Tangled is better than Frozen. Idina Menzel, the queen of the musical herself, carrying the character so complicated, someone with so much pressure on her shoulders to be the leader, to conceal and don't feel. Mandy Moore's Rapunzel was a disgrace in comparison.
Margarita, you are speaking pure storytelling blasphemy because you have merely focused on one element, the music, and then you have criticized an angel. Mandy Moore was the crush that I had for so long that for you to think that I had a crush on the giant silver-throated goddess that is Idina Menzel, or the Kristen Bell's pretty cute too. I'm going to give you Kristen Bell. She was great, but it's not about the actresses. This is about character development. And this is about expressing the difficult concept of caregiver-child relationships and the abuse that can happen when a mother doesn't love you and set you free. And that's why Tangled taught me more than Frozen ever will. I don't want to build a snowman. I want to be where the light is, or whatever the lantern song was.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're all going to have to side with Mark on this one because it's 3-1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of keeping this bad boy moving, let's kick it over to Jordan for a final look of the weather.
Yeah. Hey, we'll get right to that. But first, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to set up a new children's segment. You see, we do a lot of adult themed stuff here, but I think we're really missing out on having the kids involved. So I've come up with a little number that if you want to just plop your children down in front and have a little learning time, well, let's all learn something, shall we? It's the safety, safety, safety song. I hope that you're all gonna sing along. The safety, safety, safety song. Come sing along to the safety song. Hi, kids! Are you ready to learn about safety today? Yay! Oh, look who's come to visit us first. It's our upstairs neighbor, Mr. Fork, and our downstairs neighbor, Mr. Light Socket. These two neighbors don't get along now, do they? Don't touch a light socket with a fork. You'll end up like a roasted pork. Don't touch a light socket with a fork because you're gonna die. Isn't learning fun, children? Oh, hey, look who's come to visit us now. It's a teenager with a camera and a Tide Pod. What kind of trouble could that cause? Don't put a Tide Pod in your mouth. There's no excuse for that, even if you're from the South. Don't put a Tide Pod in your mouth because you're gonna die. We're learning a lot today, children. Oh, hey, look who that is. It's David Carradine with a belt. There's lots of fun things that we're going to learn now, isn't there? Don't autoerotic asphyxiate. There's other ways to sexually stimulate. Don't autoerotic asphyxiate because you're gonna die. Wow, there's a lot of fun things that we've learned today, children. Oh, hey, look at this last minute edition. It's the President of the United States. Oh, there's so many things that we need to learn here. Don't inject Clorox into your veins. I can't believe that's something that I have to explain. Don't inject Clorox into your veins because you'll fucking die. It's the safety, safety, safety song. I hope that you all got to sing along and pay close attention to the safety song because you're gonna die. Thanks, kids.
Wow.
Thank
I learned a
you.
few things there.
I did too. Jordan, thank you so much. You are going to have such an impact on the children with that song, especially.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has once again been the Weekly Report, 20 minutes of news in 1 hour. We're going to kick it around the table for some final thoughts. Margarita.
Rapunzel is vapid. Elsa is a queen.
Jordan, how about your final thoughts?
Don't forget, safety first, kids.
All right, great. And Mark.
Keep your sanity and don't ever fuck with 12-year-olds.
All right, fantastic. And once again, my final thought is I am not liable for this in any way whatsoever, no matter what my other co-anchors have said, especially to you, Tom Hanks. You're a goddamn American treasure. Well, that's going to do it for us this week from the RIP and the Weekly Report. I'm Caleb.
I'm Margarita.
That's Mark and Jordan both on mute. We'll see you next week. Good night.